Well, hello there, my fellow gentle nerds. My name is Echo, and if you haven't heard from me before, I'm the dude who's doing stupid challenges to build a deck that often don't require that much money that others spend on that card game. I want to welcome you to this episode of Boss Rush, and this introduction is there to help you understand what the series is all about. I don't think it's too complex to understand that. And we are going right now to the opening. Hey, it's me, Echo. And yeah, I can try to tell you that I'm doing this live and I'm recording this and I'm talking while I'm opening this box, and that would be lying. The case is, I opened this €90 box and I didn't plug my microphone in. So we have an opening. I bought one box of Mystic Fighters because this series is all about building a Generator deck. And yes, when I say Generator, I think Wolf is going to cringe himself to death because, well, he calls them Generaiders, but they're called Generators. Live with it. And let me tell you, I really like this deck. I hope it's going to turn out great. And we have, of course, some ways to make this deck even better without spending €40 per week on the series. And let me tell you how this works. This whole series works by dueling other duelists. In this case, they are called minions or stage battles. And then at the end of each episode, we have one boss battle. Each one duel gives us one token. That token can be used to spin the wheel. And on that wheel, we will get a new card. However, we have not one, we have 3 wheels. We have the small token wheel, we have the big token wheel, and we have the extravagance wheel. Those wheels are still subject to change, so not all cards that are on there are all of the cards that we need or that we're getting. Maybe we're changing direction with the deck, and then we will add those cards to the wheels. One token that I've gotten from one duel win, not one match win, gives us a spin on the small wheel. Winning a match, however, turns those 2 would be one small coins into one big coin, so we can spin one of those big wheels. What is different between the big and the small wheel? Well, the big wheel obviously is bigger. Not in size, but in the term of card value on there. So on there, the cards range from around, let's say, 2 to about 10 to 12 euros. That is the value of one card on there. And then, if we are feeling lucky, we can exchange 3 big tokens. We can obviously save them up and exchange 3 big tokens for one extravagance token. And on the extravagance wheel, we have big cards. Blowout cards like Forbidden Droplet, cards like Dragoon. That's not on the wheel right now. I'm spoiling here, obviously. But there are going to be cards that are going to change the deck how it is. So our obvious focus is winning as much duels and matches as possible so we can spin the wheel each week. We start off each week by having either 3 small tokens, which is like the exchange rate, or 1 big token. That is our weekly spending on the wheel. So every other win that we get adds to that collection or to our savings account. You will always see the amount of tokens that we have in the bottom left screen. And I think that's everything you need to know. We start off obviously by dueling 3 stages. So this week is week 1. So our stage battles are stage 1-1, stage 1-2, stage 1-3. That is just the description that I'm giving it. So all of the duelists there are helping me out. And if you want to be one of those duelists, you can check out the link in the description that leads to my Discord. And on this Discord, I'm like looking for other duelists who want to duel me. But then after those 3 duels, I will have 1 boss battle. Each and every week has 1 boss battle that is unique, that I haven't dueled before, at least as a boss. And this duel is going to be high stakes because I can wager every single token that I've won so far and double them if I win the match. If I just win 1 duel, I get nothing. So I just get all of those tokens that I've set, and I just get them plus 1 small token. Nothing happening there. But if I lose all the tokens that I've set. So for example, I won 1 match in an episode and 2 duels. That would be, I think, is a pretty regular score that can happen. So I would wager all of them. And that would mean if I win, I have now 2 big tokens and 4 small tokens. But if I lose, I have nothing. If I win just 1 duel, I still have 1 big token and 3 small tokens. So it's like getting 1 duel win is the required amount to get at least anything. And I think we have something on there. If I don't wager anything, I still get like 1, I get the usual duel spending. So I can choose to do that or do not if I feel like my deck can stand up to the challenge. While I was talking, you have seen the opening of the box of Mystic Fighters. Let me tell you, this set is the starting point. There is not all of the support, and the good support unfortunately is an Eternity Code, like the best cards in there, which are Har, Generator Boss of Storms, and Lopter, Shadow of the Generator Bosses, sorry. We have a chance to get them on the wheel, so hopefully we can get them next week, but we have to see how the duel goes. But before that, we will go into the deck profile. And if you want to play the deck for the episode yourself, in the description you can find a link to download that deck list if you actually want to play this, because this week we aren't having a full Generator deck. That's basically impossible. Out of 1 box of Mystic Fighters, you don't get enough cards to sustain a whole Generator deck. However, we are splashing a separate secondary engine into that. And yes, I haven't opened with like 1 box of Mystic Fighters. I have been lying a bit. I've been splashing a box of Ghosts from the Past in there just because that set was freshly released and I wanted to change it up a bit. In the end, I don't think the pulls from Ghosts from the Past were too crazy. No ghost rares, obviously, you have seen that. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully you enjoy this episode, and we will go right into the deck profile. And we are here at the deck profile. Yes, that opening was kind of silent, wasn't it? But I'm going to show you what I got out of the box and what I built with it. We, of course, start with this Generator boss stage. How did you like the intro to the card explanation part? Well, we start out with Generator boss stage, which is the field spell of the deck and is essentially the bread and butter of the whole deck. This is what makes the whole deck function. Once per turn, if the opponent adds a card from the main deck to his hand, and that includes in his draw phase, I get to special summon a Generator monster from my deck. That's how I can get level 9 monsters from my deck out. And then they have their own unique abilities. But how do we trigger those abilities, since they require 2 tribute monsters? That's where the second effect of boss stage comes in. The second effect of boss stage is only active on my opponent's turn. So the first part can even be used in my turn when I can make my opponent draw and I have boss stage up. Then I can special summon a card, works. But the second part, the token producing part, only works in the opponent's turn, on the opponent's turn. So when I special summon a monster on my opponent's turn, I get to special summon level 4 fairy tokens, in that case Generator tokens, to my side of the field, and as many as I can. So I have in total, usually after turn 1, like 1 boss monster up and then 4 tokens. That's usual setup. And that's what makes this deck go, because all effects of Generator monsters can be triggered by tributing those tokens. Next, we are playing 2 Nidhogg, Generator Boss of Ice. We go into our first main deck monster, which is Nidhogg, Generator Boss of Ice. And all of the Generator monsters can only be one time at the field, like I can only have one Nidhogg, I can only have one Hela, you get the point. And if my opponent special summons a monster, I can tribute a Generator or Worm and negate the, well, special summon and destroy it. And that's a once per turn, so I can use a token, I can use itself, I can use another Generator and stop a special summon. And usually you see the monsters first, that's why I put the Generator boss stage first to explain the whole deck. But we are going on with the monsters. Frody, Generator Boss of Swords. Then we have Frody, Generator Boss of Swords. Again, only one Frody at a time on the field. And I can tribute as many Generators or Warriors, keep in mind, again, tokens count as Generators, and destroy that many monsters. Can even be on my side of the field. That is a once per turn. The drawback, and you see what I did there, is that for each destroyed monster on their side of the field, on my opponent's side, he gets, or they get to draw one card for each card that I destroyed. So for instance, I tribute 3 and destroy 3 on his side of the field. He gets to draw 3 cards, which is very, very much, well, he plussed. Then a few one-offs. We have Naglfar, Generator Boss of Fire. Going on with Naglfar, Generator Boss of Fire, can only be one. And if one or more Generator would be destroyed, that means if there was a board wipe, I could activate Naglfar and tribute one Generator or Beast Warrior, can even be Naglfar himself, and then keep the others alive that weren't tributed. So again, that's a once per turn, like every Generator effect, so keep that in mind. That's why the OPT is there, once per turn. Hela, Generator Boss of Doom. Then we have Hela, Generator Boss of Doom, and I think Hela is one of the more useful ones, at least right now. Hela can only be one on the field, and I can tribute a Generator or Zombie and special summon a Generator or Zombie with a different name from my graveyard in defense position. That is once per turn. So that gives me some recyclability. So what I can do with that is I can maybe revive a Dovelgus if I drew another Generator monster. So I can get that onto the field. What Dovelgus does, we get that later. So I get pluses in any case, since I get a different type of effect that I've already used, which is in the grave and not in the deck anymore. And last but not least, for the Generator monsters, we have 2 Dovelgus, Generator Boss of Iron. Now we have Dovelgus, Generator Boss of Iron. Again, one big boy only. And I can tribute Generators or machines and special summon the same number with different names in machines or Generators from my hand in defense position. So if I have 2 in hand and I get Dovelgus out, as long as I don't have a Dovelgus in my hand, or tribute a Dovelgus and have a Dovelgus in my hand, like that doesn't work. It has to be different names. For example, I have Frody and Nidhogg in my hand. Then I can get Ruggles out, tribute 2 tokens, and I get both Generaiders on the field. So Ruggles is very, very cool, but situational, since he is only good if you have cards in hand. Otherwise, he is meh. Going into the spells in the main deck. Well, spells is flexible here, since it's only one. Generator Boss Quest. Our first spell, Generator Boss Quest. I can reveal one monster in hand, Generator of course, and then add 2 spell and traps to my hand. The revealed monster goes to the bottom of the deck. That means if I have something in hand and I cannot go into Ruggles, like I don't have a way to get my boss stage up, so I can special summon Ruggles, I can reveal that, maybe for example a Hela in my hand, and get boss fight, or boss room, or boss stage, or boss bite. Can get everything to my hand except boss quest in this case. So I have options to fix my hand and set up, because I get a card that usually sits in my hand and doesn't get there from anytime soon, and get that back into the deck so I can use it actually. So Boss Quest is one of the better cards where we should look out to get more. And onto the trap lineup, we play triple, oh, that was my mat, triple Generator Boss Fight. Then we have Generator Boss Fight. A Generator Boss Fight, funnily enough, is a good card. Still, its text doesn't say that. I mean, I get to activate boss stage from Draco Graveyard once per turn, so if it gets destroyed, yeah, okay, boss fight brings it back. And as long as I only have one boss stage, this is useful, so having 3 boss fight is very good. The drawback, which is not a drawback, is when I activate boss fight, my opponent draws a card after I activated the boss stage from deck or grave. The good part here is it triggers boss stage, so I get to special summon, and if it's on my opponent's turn, I get my tokens as well. The drawback is my opponent draws a card, which is usually bad. So it is a bit back and forth, requires some deliberation if it's useful. In any case, it should be useful since you get a lot of advantage, even in the later stages of the deck. Then also triple Generator Boss Room. Then we have Generator Boss Room, which is an interesting trap, and that effect is like a no you effect. So like a nope. If I activate a generator effect, can be anything, and my opponent wants to respond to that, I can say, nah, I don't want to do that. Discard a card, and then the effect that was activated in response to the effect, like maybe he wants to negate one of my generator bosses. For example, he wants to stop my Frody from activating. In that case, I can activate Boss Room, and Boss Room is a permanent trap that makes me and him, or her, or them, draw one card after I discarded one. So it makes sure that our effects go through. And for the last trap lineup, we have 2 Generator Boss Bite. And last but definitely least, Generator Boss Bite. As of right now, we don't have a Generator Xyz, which would be Jormungandr. I hope I pronounced that correct. And we don't have that as of right now. So Boss Bite targets one Xyz. I can tribute Generator monsters on my side of the field, and that number of Generator monsters I can attach from field or graveyard. Not the same monsters that I've tributed. That is very important to note. But Boss Bite can make Jormungandr very big if I have enough materials on field to tribute. But as of right now, Generator Boss Bite is not that good, since the only target that we have right now is Prime Mathmech Laplacian. That's it with the Generator boss lineup for our deck. Since we don't have enough cards to fill a whole deck with Generator cards, we are opting to go a kind of hybrid route with Mathmechs. And since Mathmechs were a different part of the box of Mystic Fighters that I opened, I have a few of them. And unlike the Generator card presentation that I just did, Mathmechs are getting, like, I can tell you that they are there and briefly tell you what they do, and then we will go on with our day. We, of course, play triple Balancer Lord. That card is very good since we can normal summon again just for the cost of 1000 life points. And also he is fairly big and he's a level 4, so he is definitely a must-have. Then another playset, we have multiplication. That is very, very cool. And I can target one level 4 Cybers monster I control and its level becomes level 8 until the end of the turn. The other part is not that good. If it's sent to the graveyard, I can target a monster in the extra monster zone and double its attack. That mostly doesn't work in that case that we're using it. But think of it this way. There is an extra deck monster that we want to summon as a win con, which is Yugioh-Mathmech Final Sigma. That is a level 12. So this plus any level 4 Mathmech or like Cyber's Tuner is Yugioh-Mathmech Final Sigma. That works even really, really good in conjunction with the Balancer Lord, since I can normal summon multiplication, and then there is a Mathmech that can special summon itself and is a tuner. So multiplication can be very useful. And there we have it. The Mathmech Cyber's Tuner that can special summon itself. Mathmech Sigma. Mathmech Sigma can special summon itself unless you have a monster in your extra monster zone. And if we special summon him, we don't have one there. So that's very, very cool. And with Generator cards, we don't clog up the extra monster zone. So there is even kind of a synergy. Then the next card is Mathmech Subtraction, which is non-tuner, but a free special summon if we can target a monster on the field. So if we have a monster on field, we can target it. It loses 100 attack and then it comes out. So it can also work for Synchro or Xyz plays. The same thing that Subtraction did does Addition. Addition just gives 1000 attack instead of taking it. So this card wants to target one monster that we control. This card, Subtraction, targets a card that the opponent controls. So Addition is very, very good. And the last monster in our deck is Mathmech Nabla. Nabla is also a tuner, level 4, and I can tribute a Cyber's monster, so I can special summon one Mathmech monster from my deck. Funnily enough, that works with Balancer Lord. So normal summon Balancer Lord, activate effect. So I can normal summon Nabla, tribute with Nabla's effect the Balancer Lord, and get out a multiplication. Multiplication brings Mathmech Nabla's level up to level 8. Synchro summon away into Yugioh-Mathmech Final Sigma. Bada bing, bada boom, you have a big boss monster that is hard to out. So that is actually a hand that we want to see very often. Oh, I kind of lied. There's one that went under the radar. Mathmech Division. So that also kind of like works like this. I can tribute a Cyber's monster I control in the extra monster zone, and I can summon up to one level 4 Cyber's monster from each my hand and the graveyard. And I don't know, I just play it as a name. Also, it is very big, so it has its way into the deck. Like, there is a use for it. First, one card, or in that case 2 cards, Sign It Backdoor. That is a searcher and brings our card back, which it banishes it, brings it back next standby phase, and then it can attack directly. Mostly it is a search, so we can set up synchro plays. With Generators, it even works very good since the tokens get destroyed in the end phase, so we have some kind of protection. If we have Generator boss stage set up, then we, in our turn, normal summon a monster, Sign It Backdoor that, so it goes away our field is free for generator tokens, and I do my generator defense stuff, and on my turn I get the monster back and I get a free monster out of the deck. So Signet Backdoor is pretty useful. And then there is the card there where the use case for division is, which is Mathmech Billion Blade Nyhmnim. And that card can send a card from deck to grave, and the equipped monster gains that attack. So if I have a Balancer Lord out, equip it with Billion Blade, and I have a battle, doesn't matter if my opponent attacks or I attack, that card that I send to the graveyard bounces the attack up. So my Balancer Lord with sending the division actually bounces the Balancer Lord up to 3200 attack. So that's actually very, very good. And last but not least, one Mathmech equation for the spells. Equation is a monster reborn, and it is even better since it gains 1000 attack until the end of the turn. And the last two main deck cards are Mathmech Superfactorial, which is actually our way to go into our extra deck Xyz monster. I'm going to show you that in a bit. Also, it can work, so I can go into synchro monsters, but I think the Xyz case is in that shape or form better. And the last card, or cards in the main deck, are Mathmech Induction, which is protection and destruction in the same card. So all Cybers monsters I control gain 500 attack per card, and then I can destroy this card, send it to the graveyard, and destroy a card that my opponent controls. So it is actually nice, since if it stays on the field, my monsters get buffed up. If I don't want them, okay, I can destroy anything on the field. So I like that card a lot. Going into our extra deck, you have seen me open also a few packs of Ghosts from the Past, so don't expect every card to be in here from Mystic Fighters. There is 2 Mathmech Final Sigma. There you have them. That is our main win con right now. Since generators don't do much in that state right now, I have to use Sigma to make something work, because in the extra monster zone that gets very scary. Another synchro that we have access to is Mathmech Magma, which is the, I think, smaller brother of Final Sigma, but to be completely honest, in most cases I can go into the Final Sigma, so Magma is pretty cuttable right now, but he's a tuner as well. So going into him, then getting another card out, and then going into Final Sigma is an option. Think about it, it's a level 8, so with any level 4 non-tuner, I'm getting there. And the last card from Mystic Fighters in the extra deck is Prime Mathmech Laplacian, which has an actually very, very cool effect. It has 3 effects that it can do if I detach that monsters, and I can choose which effects I want to use. If I detach all 3, I trigger all 3 effects. So I like this card a lot, but I have to have 3 level 4 monsters, and yeah, that is not very feasible. Then for the one-offs in the extra deck, we have one Heavenly Sphere, Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, one Metal Foes Orichalc, one Shooting Star Dragon TGEX, and one Buster Drake. I can, except for Buster Drake, make none of them. But there is one card in the side deck that makes them possible to be summoned. Before we go into the side deck, however, look at them. Those are our companions for the series. Those are our Generator boss tokens. We don't need more than 4 because we cannot summon more than 4. Oh, slightly OCD trigger here. I don't have OCD, but I have the tendency. Those are our tokens. And yes, that is my face I put on there. And for the extra deck, we have side deck. We have 2 Generator Boss Loot. Pretty much the worst Generator card that we have access to. It is not good, to be completely honest. It gets outed a lot. The protection effect, yeah, but also it's not very, very good. Then there is the card that I was talking about for the side deck extra deck monsters. I cannot get it right today. Waking the Dragon. Waking the Dragon is funny because I get to special summon any monster from my extra deck if this card gets destroyed. So battle removal is like getting more and more prevalent in the game. So having this on the field, then it gets destroyed. Whoopsies! There is a very big monster on the field right now for me. So I like this card a lot. 2 Jinzo, I highly doubt that I will ever go into that card. It's still in the side deck because it's one of the best options. And triple Dark World Dealings. Dark World Dealings is actually an option because it makes the opponent draw a card. If I draw this card and I activate it, I can trigger boss stage in my turn. Is that worth it playing and giving my opponent a card? No. Is it an option if I really need to get my generators out there? Yes. However, I have no real way of getting into my boss stage right now, except for, well, hard drawing boss stage or boss fight. That makes everything generator related right now not as good as it could be. So for now, it's in this side deck. And that is my deck profile. It is a mess. Is it going to win a game? Highly doubt it. Will we have fun? I don't even know. But I will give my best, and if you want to try this mess out, you will always find the YDK in the description. Other than that, I hope you enjoy our duels. We start off with stage 1-1 today. So, before we go into the duel portion, I want to point you to one thing. Below that video you can find the subscription box. And if it's red, you can click that for free and you get notified and updated once a new video from me hits. That would help out me a ton. And if you could like that video as well and maybe even give me a comment on what to improve, what you liked about this episode, type that in the comment section below. That helps me a lot and that helps the algorithm overlords there to see that this content is worth checking out. So if you would do that, that would help out immensely, and click down the subscription box below to join the boss squad. So we go into stage 1-1. It is myself against Nick from Yugioh Tundra, and I'm having a nearly whole Mathmech hand, but I can activate the boss fight to get the boss stage, which triggers to bring me a Nidhogg and 3 tokens. Now it's Nick's turn. I mean, it's still our turn, and he wants to slurp up one of our tokens, but I negate that special summon with my Nidhogg. He then activates his Bingo Machine Go after he got out a Blue Eyes, and that unfortunately clears my Nidhogg. He can then bring out his Dragon Spirit of White, which is enough to clear my boss stage and banish it, which is one of the only ways to get rid of it, because via boss fight I would have the option to go for that. And unfortunately, he has an effect Veiler to stop my multiplication from happening, which would have cleared anything that he had by getting out the Geo-Mathmech Final Sigma. And in the end, I'm left with a nearly clear board, and he has a Blue Eyes alternative, which can hit indirectly. And in the end phase, he goes into a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, which brings back the Blue Eyes White Dragon. not the Spirit Dragon, but one of his graveyard effects. I activate the Induction and the Sigma, and now I can go into Final Sigma. I cannot, because he has a second effect Veiler. I still go into Magma and clear his Spirit Dragon with the effect of Induction, but he can bring out a Black Rose Dragon, which bounces my Magma back, and now I'm left with a open board again. And now look at that, 6k damage on board. Yeah, that is going for him. Game 2, I am going first again because I want to set that up. And looking at my hand, I have Nabla, I have the Balancer Lord, which is full combo. So I can now go into the Final Sigma. And it's in the extra monster zone, so it's very big, it's there. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to go into my boss stage, but I'm looking very good here. He can attack into the Final Sigma, crash that. That's unfortunate, but he can only end up on a Linkuriboh. And there is the blue eyes, like, it's always there. Yeah, thank you for pinging me. That always happens when I'm recording. The Balancer Lord hits over the Linkuriboh and nothing happens. I mean, the Linkuriboh activates anyway. You know what Linkuriboh does at this point, I think. And he can Foolish Burial one of his stones to get out a Maiden. I activate Super Factorial to get out 2 and synchro them off into Magma. Magma gets attacked, and that gives me another Induction. So I want to be set up for next turn, which is not easy, but I get the boss fight, which is very good. And then I want to hit over the Maiden, which brings us another Blue Eyes. I don't know what I did there, and I don't know why I did it. I maybe confused something. And then I activate the boss fight to bring out Frody and get 3 tokens. And in this point, I have to tribute all 3 to get the big boys out here. Else he would have had like a very, very big board. But he has Cosmo Brain and the alternative. And I activate the Induction, which only boosts my Balancer Lord. So nothing is happening. I can't activate it since I don't have a Mathmech on board, which is not good. So I have to set one and pass on my turn. Unfortunately, he has nearly lethal on board. I mean, for good measure, he hit into that. And then he brought out the Linkuriboh. I just flipped the boss room because out of spite. But he took that 0-1. 0-2. I am confused. We go to stage 1-2, which is against Andrew. And Andrew is playing Dragoonity. And let me tell you, I don't know what this deck does. I cannot follow. Like, there is so much happening. There is a Koos linking off into Gaydirk. That gives him another, I think it was Baby Rock, and he links off into Romulus and gets another card, which is Dragoonity Glow, and that gives him another card. And that card gives him another card. And you get the point, I think. Every card gives another card, and he can cycle through his deck very quickly and build a board that is hard to beat. And he can get very, very much, well, advantage over me just because his deck is that recursive, and I have no ways to stop it, since look at my hand. I have 3 Mathmech traps, 1 multiplication, and a Generator that I don't want to see in my hand. I don't want to see those monsters. But then I get the Sigma, which is a little bit of hope, but he has the Heavenly Spheres bounce, which is unfortunate because that would have given me the Final Sigma, and Final Sigma would have been enough in that case, I think, to clear that Arrayed Bear. Because multiplication should double its attack. But maybe I'm mistaking here if it's like Nabla who does that. But I think Nabla gives me a second attack if I link off with Nabla. But look at that. There's a Borreload Savage Dragon. And that is big. It has 2 counters on it. So, yeah. And a Crystal Wing to top it all off. So I just surrender because look at that board. What am I supposed to do? Game number 2. I am going first because I want to set up, but I seem to not draw any Generator cards that are useful. Bring out 2 and pass with 2 set. And look at that. He has Twin Twisters, but I chain the backdoor to have some, well, follow-up. And that is good because I have the multiplication. Unfortunately, I don't have a tuner. So I cannot go into the multiplication, the Mathmech Mathmech Final Sigma. They couldn't have picked a longer name for it. I mean, they probably could, but they didn't. I'm happy about that. So he is creating advantage and still is going with his combo. And I think we should let him do his stuff. And look at that. That is an interesting point, that those Dragoonity boss monsters are bigger than most of them. I got, luckily, the boss fight, and I don't think he has an interruption on that card alone. I think he has a monster banish on the raid bear, but that doesn't count for my Frody. I use Frody and 1 token to destroy both monsters, and then I realized I cannot target them for effects. So what would have ended? He just would have attacked into one of my tokens and I'm done. So I lose that 2-0 as well. Now we are going into stage 1-3 against Bienas. Bienas going first. Looking at my hand, I am pretty happy about the Nabla and multiplication because both actually give me Final Sigma. He is playing some weird Crystal Beast deck and hits into my multiplication and has to pass. So I bring out Nabla, activate multiplication effect and go into Final Sigma, which triggers both grave effects of Nabla and multiplication, and I get the induction to clear the imperm. Unfortunately, he has the imperm and activates it on Final Sigma. So, but the damage is doubled and I hit into the Topaz Tiger, so look at that, OTK'd. Game 2, I'm going first and I'm happy I won a game. So setting 3 and pass is not the best, but there was a boss fight and a boss room, which I really like. The boss room makes it that I cannot be stopped and get 4 tokens as well as Nidhogg. That is actually a very good setup because I can stop any special summon that he does. So he sets up a bit, gets a Sapphire Pegasus into his back row and passes to me. His setup is not bad. I would love to see a Harpy's Feather Duster, but that's not happening. The Conclave here tries to pop the boss stage, but I get it to hand. So I mean, I don't get a fresh monster. He did it in end phase, so I think I am in the clear as long as he doesn't banish it. I am good. But he had the Crystal Abundance and that clears my whole board. He sets a cat into his back row. There's Verte Anaconda, dumping the Red Eyes Fusion. Dragoon, hitting in for 23 and passing to me. He now has Dragoon, which terrifying, and he directly negates and destroys my boss stage, which isn't the end of the world since boss fight wouldn't give me back, but I have to get boss fight. So he then links off into Unicorn, which bounces my Unicorn back to deck, and he has Access Code Talker and the Dragoon and hits me for game 1-1. And for the final game of these stage duels today, Bienas lets me go first again, and I have the boss fight, which gives me stage. Stage triggers, I get Nidhogg, which is usually one of the best plays, but he imperms me. So the Nidhogg is kind of sitting there flailing around doing nothing. And the Red Eyes Fusion comes down, clears my Nidhogg, clears my Sigma, and then he hits into a token. That was 4.6k damage. I bring the Sigma back because of its own effect. I get the subtraction out and go into Magma. Equip the Magma with the Nayuta, which he negates and gets bigger, and I am pretty fucketh here. So he negates my boss stage activation, and look at that big boy. He then hurts me for Magma. I get super factorial, but doesn't matter. No, he wins. Now onto the boss battle. Is it recording audio? And can those chickens please be a bit more quiet in my background?
Chickens, come on!
No, that is not even a joke. I am not kidding you.
Excellent. Office Chickens is my new favorite band name.
Office Chickens. I like that.
Office Chickens.
I should put that on t-shirts and stuff. For the boss battle, we are going up against Golden Nova, who I knew because I helped him out with the series of his, which is the ABCD Explained, like Heroes Explained, or like Sylvans Explained. And I helped with Heroes Explained, which was a big project, and I helped voice some lines. So if you want to check that out, you can do that in the description below. I don't know if the hero ones are live due to some stuff happening, but the videos of him are great, and you should definitely check him out. Link in the description, of course. So, we have game 1 coming up. I lose the die roll. He's going first. He is playing the Machina structure deck and 3 times the structure deck and starts with redeployment. He's ending on a Possessed Storage and Aerator plus 2 back row. On my turn, I start with Balancer Lord and realize then I'm missing a tuner. Since I activated the effect, I go ahead and normal summon my multiplication, and he chains Overdrive on Possessed Storage to summon out a Citadel. Set 1, activate Generator boss stage.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Pass turn.
Okay, during end phase, I will also lose 1,000 life points. I'm going to flip Cosmic Cyclone
No!
targeting the boss stage.
Oh no! Yeah, that's let's say I think this is pretty over this game with a banished boss stage.
I'm kind of hoping that you didn't open more than one in that whole box.
I did not open. He then builds a board, clears mine.
I'm gonna give it Peacekeeper.
Okay.
And when the effect resolves, I'll destroy all your monsters with 3,000 or less. And I'll use the Substitution Union effect of Peacekeeper to keep the Citadel safe.
Yep. And can actually go for game. That was a very quick one, and it was looking pretty grim. Game 2. I now go first, and I start by normal summoning Balancer Lord and equip it with Billion Blade and pass. He starts with a Scrap Recycler and sends a Citadel to grave. Then goes to battle and hits into my Balancer Lord, which is obviously bigger, taking 800 damage in the process, and that brings back the Citadel. Then attacks into Balancer Lord. Then this happened.
And then as we're still in battle phase, I'm going to go ahead and attack with Citadel.
I will activate Billion Blade.
Sounds good.
I will send Division, which has 1500 attack, so Citadel is outmatched.
Oh my god, you literally told me it was 17. I thought it was lower than that. I've made a grave error.
So you take 200 more.
Yep, that's oof.
He passes on 3 set cards and gives it over to me. On my turn, I get out a Subtraction and try to hit him for free, but he had the back to the front, brings back the Recycler, which attacked his Subtraction, and well, Subtraction gets over that, he brings back Citadel, and with Citadel he can clear my board while even protecting his Citadel with a Peacekeeper. With 1 set, I pass to Nova back. On his turn, I get the boss stage. Through my set boss fight, I get Dovelgus and trigger the boss stage. So, tokens. 1, 2, 3, 4. How do you like my tokens?
Oh, oh my god, I love the face on it. What game are those from?
I don't know. I made them myself.
Oh, okay, now that I see them closer, I see the token layout. Okay, cool. Oh my god.
I'm kind of like a field center token guy. I made this as one. as well.
Oh my god. That's beautiful, like legit. I love that alien landscape going on there.
On his standby phase, I trigger Ruggles and bring out Nidhogg and Naglfar. He pitches Citadel to special summon Fortress, which I Nidhogg, but he pitches Jizukiru later anyway to bring Fortress back, so that was kinda wasted. And with full board, he swings into me. I protect my Naglfar once, but in the end, Naglfar and Nidhogg get destroyed, and my top deck was that horrendous that I passed back to him. Still, I got the boss rush trigger on his turn from his draw phase, which gives me Hela. The Hela gives me the Naglfar back from grave, so I am back to being protected from Citadel. Again, with the full board which he built, he swung into me, activates Citadel and punches me for 6k damage. Then I luckily drew Sigma, which I special summon. Then I normal summon Balancer Lord, and I normal summon again the Division. Then I synchro summon for 12 into final Sigma and punch into Fortress. Pass. On his turn, I trigger boss stage for Frody and tokens. And on standby phase, I Frody his citadels. Have a look. I will activate Frody's effect and will tribute summon 1, 2, destroying both your citadels.
Okay. I'll take the hits and I'll take the draws.
Yep, 2 draws for you.
Alright. Alright, what's that life total looking like?
I have 1,000, you have 6.
Okay. Well, I will go to battle phase. And I'll have Megaform attacking one of the tokens.
I should have destroyed it as well! Oh no! I couldn't calculate myself! Yeah, Mathmech, that's, yeah. Oh shit.
It looks like someone's chances of victory just got divided.
Yeah. So, another 2-0 loss. Thank you so much to Nova. It was such an amazing duel. I really liked that. I hope to have a rematch someday soon. And other than that, that was the first episode of Boss Rush. It was a behemoth to create all of this. I'm happy that I have it now set up so future episodes are easier to edit. And if you really liked what you've seen here, I would love it if you give yourself the boss buff and click the subscribe button, as well as give the video a like. I won't bother you with that anymore today. So without further ado, I hope you are there for the next episode of Boss Rush, which comes out next week. Again, Saturday 20. Yes, 20. 18, 19, 20. Correct. 2015 GMT plus 2, which is, if you are not familiar with that format, it's 8 PM and 15 minutes. So that's European, or in that case German time. And usually if you live in the US, it's around like 6 to 7 to 9 hours earlier than that. So without further ado, I will end this episode of Boss Rush. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode. See you then. Bye bye.
What if my deck sucks?
That would really suck.
What if I lose every game?
That would also suck.
What if they feed me to a bunch of wild dogs?
What?
That last part was just for the rhyme scheme.
Okay.
What if my deck sucks?
That would suck.
What if I lose every game?
That would also suck.
What if they feed me to a bunch of wild bugs?
Huh?
I guess we're sticking to the animal thing.